Good morning, beloveds. So it's Saturday, uh, and I got to go to the park today, and the clouds were really interesting. The clouds have been really interesting. It was kind of one of those days in the park where physically I'm struggling because with the temperature doing this, my joints are just not having it. But the squirrels came out to play, the woodpecker came out to play, the blue jays came out to play. Whether I got any good pictures of the birds, I don't know. I know I got some good ones of the squirrels though. Um, and the clouds were just really interesting. They've been interesting for the last couple of days because we got weather. um, and so, like, I hurt physically, but emotionally and mentally, it was a good day in the park. So it's like, it all comes out the wash, right? So that makes today's title really interesting to me because, like I said, physically I'm struggling. But it's January 21st, and our title is Physical Perfection. So I look forward to seeing where it's Rainbow Johnson today. So where she's going with this. Okay. I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. Exodus 23:25. Sickness is not a spiritual reality. It is an experience, an effect, and not a cause. And that is Science of Mind, page 177. Do you ever stop to think about the difference between fact and truth? The fact can be that we are sick, but the truth is that there is no sickness in spirit. And if we attune ourselves to that truth, sickness vanishes. I was visiting my son, his lovely wife, and my children. I was to sleep with my daughter-in-law and the baby in a bedroom immediately adjacent to the boys' room. As we were preparing to go to sleep, we heard a horrendous barrage of coughing coming from the next room. That's Alaric, his mother said. Isn't it terrible? She added that she had tried numerous medicines, but nothing seemed to work. She said it appeared he would just have to suffer it out until morning, when she could take him to the doctor. Why don't we treat him through visualization, I asked. She agreed to try it. Well, I said, let's visualize Alaric perfectly well and sleeping peacefully. Silently, I began to do a spiritual mind treatment. When I reached the realization step, I knew that Alaric was a whole, perfect, and complete, that there was no cough in God, only perfection. Then I envisioned Alaric totally filled with light, permeating every cell, permeating his lungs, throat, and entire body. When I finished the treatment, I noticed that there was not one sound coming from the next room. For the remainder of the night, there was not one more cough. I am a perfect child of God, therefore I do not inherit sickness. I am a perfect child of God, therefore I do not inherit suffering. I am a perfect child of God, therefore I do not inherit imperfection. I am whole, perfect, and complete in every way. And that is Rainbow Johnson. She reminds me of Emma Curtis Hopkins. In that hardball metaphysics. And you know what? That's possible. It is absolutely possible. And I think that's that first question is what she asked. What's the difference between truth and what's the difference between fact and the truth? The truth. Because that's where I'm at. You know, the fact is that my joints hurt. The truth is that there is a version of me, God's idea of me, that does not. And it's up to me to get to figure out the difference, you know, to get from the fact of to the truth of. And here's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to beat myself up because I'm here. I'm not going to. It doesn't do anybody any good, especially not me, and actually gets in the way of the process. So, and that's why it's like when people who are in pain and have people who come up to them and say, well, just treat yourself out of it, you know, use your mind. It's not helpful. It's not helpful. it's one of the avenues. Are there people who could probably treat themselves right out of it? Absolutely. Am I one of them? No. I am a spiritual being having a human experience. And in my human experience, this is what I'm dealing with. But treatment is a part of it. And I'm not going to let anybody make me bad and wrong for having pain. I'm not going to let myself make me bad and wrong for having pain. It's part of, but I think that's part of what that she said, that one of the quotes said, it's an experience. It's not who I am. It's just an experience that I'm having. And in moving through it, you know, there are steps that I take, and it's a whole thing, you know, it's like, this is a vehicle and I have a responsibility to take care of this vehicle, which means I need to take it to the doctor and I need to make sure that I feed it appropriately and rest it appropriately and do all of that stuff. And I also need to make sure that I'm spending time with the source of my own being, and going back. And as I like to say from the Quantum Doctor, you know, going back and looking at the blueprint of me, going back and looking at the bliss body, going back and looking at God's idea of me. God does not want me to suffer. God is not making me suffer. It's just the fact of my experience right now. It's not the truth of me. And the fact that I know that is what helps me to deal with it, to get through it. You know, the whatever it is that's going on, it's not a punishment. It is not a punishment. It is not a punishment for something that I didn't do. It's not a punishment for, you know, it's an experience that I'm having. And so, so treatment is part of that. But, you know, there are some physical facts that I have to take care of. And so when you read when you read articles like Physical Perfection, don't let them make you feel, well, if only. Don't let them make you feel like, well, you know, what am I doing wrong? You're probably not doing anything wrong. I mean, you might be. I mean, we make choices about what we eat and things like that. And I have been saying, that I firmly believe that part of what is going on is, you know, the fact that I'm having that menopausal experience. And to a degree, I've proven myself right in the last month, because I found something that supports hormones, especially for menopausal women, and my pain level went down. And I'm like, see? But it was on me to keep working. And that's kind of it. Cause I was talking to a customer in the store, and he says, well, after I work out, I do this. And I said, yeah, I know that feeling. He said, well, what do you do? And I said, and I looked him straight in the eye and said, I keep moving, you know, because if I stop moving, then it gets worse. And so I keep moving and I keep treating and I keep working on it, and I'll get there. And that's part of that faith. You know, I have faith that I'll get there. I have faith that this will, you know, that I will eventually, and sooner rather than later, hit upon what it is, that combination of spiritual and mental and emotional and physical that will help me to get where I want to be. And part of that is that spiritual treatment. Part of that is knowing that I am whole, perfect, and complete. And part of that is knowing that this is an experience. It's not the truth of me. It is not who I am. And so sometimes that's why we say, look a fact in the face and see the truth behind it. That's what that means. That is exactly what that means. And so my interpretation of the reading is coming from a completely different place, because I deal with chronic pain, you know, and I'm not bad and I'm not wrong, and it doesn't make me any less of a Science of Mind minister to deal with chronic pain, you know. And that's one of the things that's always made me really sad, when practitioners have a specific challenge and they can't treat themselves out of it, you know, and then they think they're not good practitioners. It's like, no, It's like, this is the experience that you're having. It doesn't make you less of a science of mind practitioner. It doesn't make you less of a minister. One of Reverend Jesse's early experiences was that he had a science of mind minister come to him and ask him to treat for her. And she was dealing with, and I don't remember what it was. You'd have to go back and ask him, but she was dealing with something like Parkinson's or MS, something serious. And, he was nervous because he's just this, and she's like, it's like, no, it's like, you're not the one doing the work. You're not the one doing the work. You are, you're the divine channel. You're just treating, it's God that does the work. So it's not about power. And, so we walk through these journeys and we have these challenges. And, I'm not going to say that this was that the chronic pain that I'm dealing with right now is a gift from God to teach me something. No, it's simply an experience that I am having. Okay. And it doesn't make me any less of a science of mind that I am having this experience. It's simply the fact of me, but it's not the truth of me. And it's not who I am. And so, it's called a spiritual bypass. And there's a lot of ways to frame that. Don't let you having a situation like mine make you think that you're not a good science of mind practitioner. Don't let that happen. Go to people that can treat for you and take all the other steps. One of the things that Ernest Holmes has said, because her daughter-in-law said she was going to take him to the doctor in the morning. You know what? She probably still took him to the doctor in the morning, even though he slept through the night. Ernest said, all that is under God is of God. So that means doctors and medicine are of God. Take care of yourselves and use all methods available to you. Treatment is simply one of the tools. All right. So I don't know what Rainbow Johnson had in mind with that reading, but that's where I went because that's where I'm at. And that's one of the reasons why I always remind you that, whatever I'm dealing with, whatever is going on in my life is going to affect the way I read those. If I was happy, healthy, and whole and not dealing with pain, I would have had a completely different experience with the reading today, but it doesn't make it any less important. So that's where we are. That's where we are. Okay. So the mission today, should we choose to accept it? What I want you to, it's kind of a two-part thing because, let's go back to the Science of Mind quote. Sickness is not a spiritual reality. It is an experience. It is an effect, not a cause. All right. And so she has that. Did you ever stop to think about the difference between fact and truth? So if you are going to do a treatment on a fact, an experience that you are having, there's no better way to do it than to visualize the light being totally filled with the light, having it permeate every cell, the lungs, the entire body. All right. So the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to recognize that sickness is not a spiritual reality, that it is an experience, that it may be a fact, but it is not the truth of who we are. And treatment is one of the ways that we can work on it. All right. So, kind of a strange mission today. But it goes hand in hand with knowing who you are. Knowing that this body is not who you are. It's what carries you around. And so that's where we sort the fact from the truth. All right. The body is a fact. You, the spirit of you, is the truth. Okay. And the spirit of you is happy, whole, healthy, complete, and perfect. So know who you are. And then the second mission is the same one I give you every day. It's the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, doing something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself. And I suggest it every day for a multitude of reasons, partly because it is about self-care. We are here for a purpose, which is to live life, to have experiences that God couldn't have without us. And to take care of ourselves. So practicing love, kindness, and compassion on ourselves is, I would say, part of the expectation. 1, you're your own best test subject. Absolutely. 2, you deserve your own love, your own kindness, your own compassion. And 3, it's that habit. When you practice it on yourself, then you're creating a bank of it. So when you meet people that need a little extra, i.e. people that are dealing with chronic pain, and some days we get a little out of hand, you have a bank to draw on. You have plenty to share. When you do when you do it as a spiritual practice, then you are connecting to the source of your own being, which is a source of infinite love, infinite kindness, infinite compassion. And when you create that well-worn path to that, you create this amazing divine channel so that it flows through you naturally. All right. Remember when I said that it's not you that does the work? It flows through you naturally. All right. But it's also about making room for joy. One of the suggestions I like to give is eat dessert first. And I've taken that to be the metaphor for the year. Eat dessert first. Don't save the good stuff. Do the good stuff now. Do the good stuff now. Take care of yourself, and have some fun. You deserve it. You're here having an experience. Make it joyful, make it fun. They are in alignment with the God qualities, because joy and fun are definitely part of that. So, take the walk, take the nap, take the deep breath, call a good friend, enjoy something to the fullest extent, like a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or a cup of hot chocolate or a good meal, or eat dessert first. All right. I think I'm a little subdued today. The weather's a little weird. They're talking about rain. It could rain all day. It's not raining yet, so I didn't get to go to the park, so that's a good thing. But do something to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like today. As I said, I have to keep moving. I choose to keep moving. It helps. I do encourage you to drink plenty of water. You saw me. I brought my water with me today. It's just been a little dry lately, so hydration is important. Your brain works better. And then I encourage you to get early in your day bright light. Yes, there was no sun today, but getting out, around that time, and artificial light counts. Reset those hormone balances, reset that circadian rhythm. It's science. You can look it up. It definitely helps. Early in your day, bright light will help to reset those hormones. You'll have more energy during the day. You'll feel better at night. Sleep better at night. That's what I was trying to say. And then, in the words of Ernest Holmes, open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. When you learn that heaven is a state of mind, it's a state of consciousness, then any place can become heaven. And every place can become heaven. Because once you figure out how to get there, it gets easier every time you do. It's like that practice, the loving, kind, spiritual compassion. The more often you practice it, the easier it comes to get there, and it kind of becomes naturally. Well, that's the same thing with heaven. How do you open your soul? There's a multitude of ways. All of the loving, kind, and compassionate practices that I suggested open your soul. Being there with another living being opens your soul. Being in nature opens your soul. Listening to good music opens your soul. Where do you find heaven? Good music. That's one of mine. So, and you can always take Emma's advice. Look for the good and praise it. All right, beloveds. So here will be the social media part where I remind you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I'm on. Please feel free to like and share all of that. And subscribe and do all that stuff. That way, you get the content, because we work really hard on it. even when we don't have a whole lot of time for it. So, and you want to know what's going on with Center, email info@creativelife.org. It will get you on a constant contact. Generally you get about one email a week, unless something else is, happening. And then, all of the hot links where it says click here now, the hot links work. They will either take you right to the information you want or right to the person that can help you get it. So take advantage of it. There's good stuff in that constant contact. And there's always something going on at Creative Life. All right. So I guess I'm at the part where I get to encourage you to have a great day, wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonder-filled day, a magic-making day, a go out and check out the clouds day, go out and do something fun day, have a compassionate day, have a loving day, have a kind day. And you get to make up what that looks like. Have a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased and well represented. You are a divine spark. You are a brilliant light. You are a godling. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. That is who you are. That is the truth of you. All right? This is who I know you to be. And this is who I hold the space for you to know who you are. All right? That's the work that we are called to do, to know who we are, to peel back the layers that society, culture, religion, gender tries to put on us, and to get to the core, the center of our being, and see who we truly are. All right, beloveds. I guess I'm at the part where I remind you Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. tomorrow, and then we will have an amazing service for you at 11 a.m. So take care of yourself, know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.